Good morning, good morning, hello, 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 good morning, happy Monday, good morning. I am so excited to see everyone. Good morning, how are you doing today? Welcome to the Civilized Presence. You are in the right place at the right time. Good morning, Morel. So good to see you. Thank you so much for joining from Canada. Good morning, Esther from Nigeria. Thank you. Hello, Renee. I just brought you on. Perfect. Good morning, Josie. Hello, hello. Good morning, Dr. Renee.
Okay.
I can see
Hi, good
you.
morning. Can you see me?
Yes, absolutely. How are you today? Good to have you. Good
Happy
morning.
Monday.
Same to you. Good morning, Jiver. Thank you from Malaysia. Good morning. It's so good to see you. Happy Mother's Day for those I didn't see yesterday.
Oh, thank you. Same to you.
Good morning. It's a happy day today. We're so excited to have Dr. Renee here on the screen. Woo-hoo! And we are going to have fun. So, where are you today? Are you in Florida? Are you in New York,
Yes,
Dr.
I
Ren?
just I just got back to Florida late last night from New Jersey. So
Oh,
New
great,
York and New
great,
Jersey
great.
last week. Yeah.
Great, perfect. Thank you for making it this morning. It must be very early over there because I know there's a time and difference,
No.
but you still made it. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm an early bird.
So, good morning, Precious. Thank you from Virginia. We're just going to jump right into what we have for today. So, morning, guys, and welcome to the sixth session of our Facebook series. So, session number six. I am so excited. You can have access and meet me here every Mondays and Fridays at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Time for the Civilized Presence. Like I said, this is number six. Okay, guys, I am so excited. You have done so well. Joanne, good morning. Welcome from Malaysia. Woohoo! Thank you. It's so good to have you in the house. I really do appreciate everyone for making our time to be here for the live session. But if you cannot, that's fine. You can have access to the recording, the
Mhm.
replay, by joining our Facebook page, which is So Unique Experts, or you can join us on Instagram, follow us on Instagram, So Unique Experts, and do not hesitate to leave those comments for us. Those comments keep us going. It makes us get better by the day. It just helps us know what exactly that you would want to learn. So leave those comments and we will get back to those comments. So for the purpose of those that do not know who I am, my name is Louisa Akaiso, and I am a certified master civility trainer and a golden rule civility statesman and a leadership expert. So I am always here on Mondays and Fridays, 7:30 a.m. Eastern Time, and we can just have the civility party and have all the fun. Now you are here because you're interested in this topic. You might have people in your network who would want to hear from us. Can you please do us a favor? Like this video, share some love. I can see the hearts going up. Thank you guys. Facebook loves the heart. Please give us some hearts because if you do, Facebook will do something great with the video. So give us some hearts and share this video on your page, okay? Your personal page, your group, wherever. Just share the message. And together we can build a huge community of like minded people. Thank you. I can see the hats going up. So, the main purpose or goal of this Facebook series is really to restore civility through having constructive and meaningful conversations. We are here to break it down into tiny little bits, drive it back home. You don't have to be trained to be civil. It's as
Right.
easy as saying please and thank you and even smile. Okay, that reminds me. It's a month of May, the Global Civility Awareness Month. How many of you actually smiled this morning? If you did smile, put it on the comment and just wave. Did you actually smile this morning to somebody or even say hello to your neighbor? Hmm. So, in order to make this series effective, and that's what we want to do, as we continue, please leave a message, leave a question on the comment box. We will come back to that. We have our guest expert in the house, and she's just going to deal with all the questions before we go. So, put it down there, and we can do this all together. So, we have so
Right.
much for today. But first of all, I'm going to introduce the guests. She is the beautiful Dr. Renee Baker. Everyone is asking, who is she? Okay, you're about to find out. She is a civility expert and also a corporate executive. You know what? She has over 20 years of experience in corporate America. Who is a better person for us to learn from this morning other than Dr. Renee? Dr. Renee, thank you so much for making up time.
Hi, Louisa. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me today.
Great. We're hanging out with you today, and we know we're going to learn so much. So, the topic of today is leadership and civility. And we can also say it's civility in the workplace,
Right.
America, because we heard about Malaysia the other day.
That's right.
So, it's America today. Now, before I get started, I am going to share with you a definition of civility. I'm going to choose, I think the best one right now is the one from Civility Experts. And
Right.
it states that a conscious awareness of the impact of one's thoughts, actions, words, and intentions on others, combined with a continuous acknowledgement of one's responsibility to ease the experience of others through restraint, kindness, non judgment, respect, and courtesy, and a consistent effort to adopt and exhibit civil behavior as a non negotiable point of character. So,
Right.
what that simply means is people treatment. You cannot be civil today and not be civil tomorrow. There's no choice. It's not like the weather in Virginia where it rains today and tomorrow we have winter. You have to be civil every single day. Now, I had mentioned that we're talking about leadership and civility, but just before we get started, I shared a video on my page about something that
Yes.
happened a couple of days ago. Guys, I thought we had to talk about this with the old women. I don't know how many of you had seen the video. I'm trying to see how I can bring it on. Let's
Yeah.
see if
The
I can.
grandmother in Alpharetta, Georgia.
Perfect. Oh,
Yes.
Dr. Renee, I thought that was, I don't even know how to describe that. That was so badly done. And to think that people thought the grandmother was wrong, that was pretty scary to me.
Right.
So, Dr. Rainer, I would like you to say something about that video. I've had tons of messages in my inbox since when I put the video on,
That's right.
and people have different opinions. Some people thought, oh, the police was right, the woman was wasting time. Like, really? She's 65 years old. So, Dr. Renee, please take a minute and just
Yes.
comment on this video.
I mean, I think, and thank you for mentioning this. I think that we are in a world where there's a lot of racial division. There's a lot of political divisions and examples of incivility popping up all over social
Mm-hmm.
media. And in many instances, what we see is we will see a video, we'll see a situation that pops up where there's this example of incivility. In this case, for those that have not seen the video, a 65-year-old woman in Alpharetta, Georgia, was pulled over by the police, and in a profanity laced exchange, she was moved from her vehicle and arrested. Now, I'll say, as we're teaching about civility and we're talking about leadership, we do recognize that there are two sides to every story. So I will not say that I know everything about what happened before that video or what happened after that video. But
Mm-hmm.
here's what I'll say on what I've seen in the video. That is a situation, and my husband is in law enforcement. He's a wonderful man, and I have a lot of friends that are in law enforcement. But that is a situation that we should not tolerate. We should expect more from our leaders, and leaders are not just in corporate America, leaders in the police department, leaders in politics, leaders across all areas, including our celebrities. We need to expect more. And that was a very unfortunate incident. And unfortunately, Louisa, it's something that we're seeing almost daily popping up on social media. That's what we see. Imagine the things that we don't see that are happening
Right.
in this world that we live in today, that is increasingly becoming more incivil,
Absolutely.
more than we've probably realized in any. There's a lot of research that shows that incivility has increased, but we are seeing a great deal of incivility popping up all over. And luckily, unfortunately for you and I and many others that are watching today, we have an opportunity to start to transcend that as leaders in our various jobs and the things that we do every day. But this is certainly something that's becoming an issue.
Thank you so much, Dr. Renee. I just thought, I had so much comments and message in my inbox about the
Yeah.
video. And first of all, this woman is 65 years old. She has a right to be panicked, especially with what's going
Yeah,
on
she
in
looked
the
confused.
me. She looked
She looked
confused.
confused.
She kept
Yep.
saying, "I want to see your supervisor." That
That's
was
right.
all she was talking about. That's the
Yes.
only thing that she could think about,
Yeah, she was
and
definitely confused.
she
And
was.
yes. And I mean, and then she did ask for a supervisor multiple times. It wasn't really apparent why she was being arrested or what the situation was that caused her
Right.
to be arrested. And reading the
Exactly.
comments, because you got to read the comments.
Right.
There it is interesting that some people did claim that she was exercising a certain privilege that she may or may not
Right.
have had, but this was something that it was shocking to watch, and it was very unfortunate.
It was. It was very unfortunate because she might not have been in her best of health. Nobody thought about that. Nobody thought about how she felt and being frightened. Maybe she's never been pulled over by a police.
Right.
Maybe it's the first time in 65 years. And there are other ways. And I understand that she kind of delayed a little bit to come out of the car. But I do think that it's important that, people have to be aware and trained and educated on
That's
how
right.
to handle things. Because if we had applied just a little bit more patience,
And
then
restraint.
and restraint, then things
Hmm.
couldn't have gotten that bad.
That's right.
And so when I saw the video, I thought, what a better way to talk about this video is to bring it up this morning, and just so we can see that
Right.
incivility is staring at us on the streets every single day.
That's
And if
right.
you have a chance, you have to be able to help out and do something. So
Right. And
we'll
we
jump back. Okay, go ahead. I'm
No, I
sorry.
was going to say, and we do have a responsibility everywhere, wherever we are as leaders,
Absolutely.
to lead where we are and not feel as though we need to take on that is not our job to be
Mm-hmm.
leaders.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll get into that as we talk about civility in the workplace.
Perfect. That's true. So we have a responsibility, yep, to continuously ease the experience of others. I always say, if you cannot remember any other thing, just know that
Right.
you're responsible to do that. You're
Lead where you are.
responsible. Absolutely. Pay attention to others. Apologize if you have to, and accept and give constructive criticism. So you can start from there. It's that easy. It doesn't have to be complicated. Now, for the topic of today, I'm so excited. It's leadership and civility. And anybody who knows me knows that I am a leadership expert, but I come from a school of thought or a background of value based leadership, where we think that
Right.
leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. But this morning, we're going to be using a sample data of the corporate world right
Hmm.
here in talking about leadership. So leadership can happen at any level, really. And looking at it from top to bottom, um, people think more about how they can become a boss
Right.
than how they can treat people the right way with empathy. And we have to understand, hello, Susan. Welcome. Thank you so much from Canada. And we have to understand that, we view our leaders, people that we view as leaders sometimes do not act in a very civil way. And, if you are in a leadership role, it is your responsibility to treat people
Hmm.
fairly. I
That's
mean,
right.
literally, we made you a boss because it was based on trust. that your subordinates had in putting their career in your hands, and because they thought you had the capacity to handle things. Now, it is not a time for you to kind of try to slash people down and give them the worst treatment ever. And that's what we're going to be discussing a little bit today with our expert, Renee, because she has a lot of experience in corporate America and also as building another life as an entrepreneur. So she has so much to tell us this morning about leadership and civility. So, Dr.
Okay.
Renee, I am just going to try to throw one or two questions to you, and then we get
Sure.
the conversation started. So,
Okay.
the first question is, leaders have an important role to play to create a culture of civility in organizations. Can you please explain to us, first of all, how should leaders work with others to define organizational expectations of civility?
Right.
Or how leaders need to communicate this, those expectations of civility in the workplace? Over to you, Dr. Renee.
Thank you, Louisa. So let me just address the definition how I see leadership, and I agree with everything you said, but I also think that I also know that leadership is also about cultivating an environment of respect, and civility in the workplace is about having that environment where respect is the norm, and respect for others. And
Mm-hmm.
oftentimes when incivility arises in the workplace, is usually starting with the lack of respect in the workplace. And
Mm-hmm.
all leaders are not those that have an understanding of what civility is. I mean, I went to business school, and we didn't talk about civility. We spoke about ethics. We spoke about
Right.
character. We spoke about values. We really didn't speak about civility. And so when I started to do research and learn about civility, I started to look at the norms within the workplace and where I came from. And my career is in Wall Street. All my entire career has been on Wall Street. Now I'm in Florida, but I still work in financial services while I'm building this business. But I do think that it's about having, as leaders, we have a constant requirement. We need to be
Mm-hmm.
vigilant about cultivating that environment of workplace instability and managing the instability in the workplace. And what happens in the day to day is leaders you get really busy. Everyone in an environment, we have timeline pressures, we have competitor pressures, and we have all these different things that we're challenged with. And what happens
Mm-hmm.
is rudeness starts to creep in, day-to-day life starts to happen, and we
Mm-hmm.
forget that as leaders we have a responsibility to lead where we are, but also cultivate that normal environment and foster civility amongst others.
Mm-hmm.
So when we talk about what can leaders do within a workplace, I think it starts about defining civility and how that aligns to organizational values.
Mm-hmm.
Most organizations and corporations have a set of values, and they need to define what that means, because everyone doesn't know, and we understand what that means because it's something that we do every day, but not everyone understands what that means. So we need to really define that and align it with organizational values so it translates to something that people understand. Another one is to model the behaviors that you want to see.
Mm-hmm.
We as leaders, people are always watching us and looking at the things that we're doing. So we want to model those behaviors and understand that, when missteps happen, like you said earlier about the woman, when missteps happen, apologize and own it. But you really want to model those behaviors. So you want
Mm-hmm.
to define stability, translate that over to organizational values. You also want to model the behaviors that you want to see. The
Mm-hmm.
next one is clarify the rules of engagement. What does that look like within in your organization? How do you assess what civility looks like and clarify the different rules for civil behavior?
Mm-hmm.
Oftentimes, we define it. You'll say, "Hey, this is what you do," but not really until you really set the scene on what it's supposed to look like and define it, as well as assess the breakdown. Does it become real for people? Within
Mm-hmm.
my organization, we define civility. Obviously, I can define it a little bit differently because I understand it, but I also put that as all of our um, part of our what is it performance component of our performance and how we're modeling it. You
Right.
also have to address the bad behavior when it happens in the workplace.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes the leaders can be cultivate instability by not speaking up. So assess the bad behaviors as they happen.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing is, or the last thing I'll mention for now, is to be patient, because these things take time. It's an
Right.
evolution, not a revolution. So you have to be patient. These things don't happen overnight, and it takes a great deal of commitment in order to install those type of civil behaviors in the workplace. So, taking a quote from John Maxwell, he says, leaders must know the way, show the way, and go the way. And that's
Mm-hmm.
something that we should be able to do, as that we should be doing as leaders within our organizations.
Thank you so much. Now, I'm going to share a little bit about, data and research, and I think that's going to
Mm-hmm.
scare people a bit.
Yes.
Based on research in 2016 and right here in America, it was stated that 95% of people believed we had a civility problem.
Right.
74% believed it was worse now than it had been a few years ago, while 70% believed we've reached crisis proportion. And when I saw that, I thought that was pretty scary. It
Yeah.
is important that we begin to go towards the right direction. Now, Dr. Renee, what would be the cost or consequences if this is not done in the workplace?
Well, it's interesting. I'm in finance, and we always talk about cost and what that means. And I've been in meetings, or I've spoken to individuals, and they'll say, "Well, is it really tangible? Can you really assess a cost to incivility?" Well, I'll say,
Mm,
here's the thing. Incivility does have a cost. And to kind of quote some of the additional research that I've done, Fortune 100 companies, they spend 13% of their work time, the equivalent of 7 weeks a year, mending employee relationships and dealing with the aftermath of incivility. So 7 weeks, that's a cost for a HR professional,
mm,
for HR professionals that are spending a significant, that's 13% of their time is significant to me, mending employee relationships and dealing with the aftermath of incivility. And then imagine how much more additional costs come into play when you have to get lawyers, additional
mhm,
consultants, when these sort of behaviors spiral out of control. And we've seen some incivility coming up across politics.
mhm,
We've seen it happen in entertainment.
mhm,
It's happening across the world, and these are the things that costs have significant costs.
mhm,
Then you have to settle the situation, the reputational risk of having incivility, especially when it hits the news, has an impact to the cost of incivility in the workplace. And this is something that we have to really be thinking about as leaders within our organization. It is something that, I can go on and on and on about this, Louisa, but there's basically, to sum it up, the summation is there is a cost, and it can be very significant to organizations.
perfect. Thank you so much. So, viewers, I'm just going to come back and recap this. You are in the right place at the right time. If you're just joining us, this is Civilized Presence. And the topic for today is civility and leadership. Now, do not forget, pop us some questions in the comment box, please. We want to be able to answer real life questions because everyone has been affected directly or indirectly by
Mm-hmm.
incivility.
That's
So
right.
we want to hear from you. We want to know how to help you a lot better. Now, we have seen very intense form of rudeness, rude behaviors in the
Yep.
workplace, with leaders ranging from maybe answering phone calls in the middle of a meeting or screaming at you in front of everyone, or making disrespectful comments, to publicly mock and belittle and
Yes.
undermine other people. And of course, what leaders do not understand is that the way that you treat people, I mean, they sometimes people give an excuse for how they behave, and they
Mm-hmm.
kind of say things like, I didn't really mean to do that. But incivility really occurs on the person who's at the receiving end. How did
Right.
they feel that you treated them? It doesn't matter how you thought. It doesn't matter if you're having a bad day. That is not our problem. You have to be continuously responsible to ease the experience of the next person.
Right.
And always ask yourself this question: if I were receiving the same treatment, if someone spoke to me the same way, how would I feel before
Right.
you continue?
The golden rule certainly applies in leadership as well.
Okay, so I have another question for you,
Sure.
Dr. Renee. Elaborate on the role of civility in fostering great
Hmm.
leaders in contrast to the role of civility in fostering good leaders.
Yeah, I mean, I think, well, I always say, at least if you're not going to do anything, at least start being good before you're great. It just don't be
Start from
a
somewhere.
bad leader. To start somewhere. But good leaders, they protect the status quo. So
Mm,
they're the ones that are going to say, you know what, let's do it the way we've always done it. And if civility wasn't part of the value system, let's just keep it the way we've always kept it. Great leaders shift. They were
right.
the ones who bring in new ideas and such as civility within the workplace, and they try to foster that environment. So
Mm,
we're going from, okay, civility, we have values, we don't need civility, to great. You know what? Let's incorporate civility into everything that we do. That's great. You want to try to do that. So good leaders show you by their actions, right?
right.
I'm doing all the right things. I'm a good leader. Great leaders will hold you accountable and hold you accountable for the shift and help you to do great things. So,
Mm,
you're good. I'm going to show you great. I'm going to inspire you to greater action and then hold you accountable for those actions.
mm,
Good leaders will tell you what to do. I will say I cannot demand that anyone be civil. I can't put that demand, but I think that would be uncivil for me to do that. But what
mm,
I can do if I'm a great leader is I can inspire you. So I'll inspire you to lead with civility and encourage you to do so. The difference is overall, and I can go on and on with great leaders, they go with through discipline and they make sure that they're always incorporating civility into everything that they do. And the difference is they may seem subtle because I think it is a very subtle difference when you're going from good to great. We always
mm.
think it has to be this huge transformational shift to go from good to great. But the reality is there are little things that we do every single day, and great leaders have the discipline to be able to take a step by step, day by day, in order to do it. And I think it's imperative that no matter if you're good or great, or even if you're bad and you're working your way to good, that you try to be successful in leadership. It's something that we're learning all the time. And I'm not going to say that within my experience with 20 years of experience that I have not had those days. But when you know better, you do better. And as leaders, we should always be working towards being as great as we could possibly be, but always continue to learn because none of us are perfect.
Thank you so much. And now we're not putting you on the spot. Can you share a real life experience that you might have had?
I don't
Because
know
you've
who's
had
watching.
vast, right? We're not going to give names here. It could be A or B, but we're trying
Company
to
A.
make, that's right. We're trying
Yeah,
to make it as practical as possible, especially when you notice a disconnect
that's right.
between good leaders and great leaders.
Well, I'll say this. I'm on Wall Street, and I'm not going to just say that it's just Wall Street. That's just the experience that I know. But this is something that happens in all organizations. We have to keep in mind, we always give leaders the title. But you
Right.
have to, like I said earlier, you lead where you are. You don't always have to have a title as a leader to be a leader. You can
Mm,
actually incorporate leadership into any role at any level within an organization. And if
mm-hmm,
we work harder to cultivate and foster civility in everything that we do, and
mm-hmm.
we kind of address some of the small things like good morning. I know I was just in New York last week, and you say good morning to most people, and anyone from New York knows you say good morning, they look at you like you have three heads.
Right.
And just saying little things like good morning and please and thank you, and then combating the rudeness and the incivility that happens in the workplace. It happens everywhere. It's not just on Wall Street. Our tolerance level for uncivil behavior is a little different. On Wall Street, my skin is a little bit thicker than what most people can probably handle. But the reality is that it's become a responsibility for all of us, and it transcends not just through Wall Street, but in all industries. And we've seen so many things coming up from social media. I just got thrown off. My husband made a comment. He doesn't really speak. So good job, Les. There's so many things that we see across the board. And luckily, there's people like us working with Lou, and many others are here today that we can start to help to foster that. There's so much more to say on this topic, but I'll leave it there for now.
Thank you so much. And I'm going to say hello to your husband, Les. Thank you so much for joining us. And we have a question in the box. And it says, as a leader, you're often responsible for molding young people to become future leaders.
Yes.
Is civility something young people can benefit from outside the workplace?
That's a great question, Les Baker. Yes. Especially because we have young people. We have 3 young people. Yes, that's absolutely. And it starts at home. Civility is something that starts from home. It's outside of the workplace, but I do believe that it starts from home. And, it's beyond the manners, but we have a responsibility as parents. I mean, as a parent, we're leaders, right? We are setting the stage for what future leaders look like. So that is something that they can benefit from outside of the workplace, and they should also be instilling. With social media and some of the behaviors that young people are seeing today, I feel as though they need it more than ever outside of the workplace, but it's certainly something that starts at home. And then maybe if it starts at home, they will get to the workplace and they won't forget everything that they learned. I know it might be difficult sometimes, but I think it's important.
Thank you so much. And I think that it is very important that we try to foster civility in the workplace, because a study has shown that there is a link and connect between family incivility and the stress and poor performance in the workplace.
Right.
So,
That's a significant cost. And it did. And earlier, I spoke about the cost with the lawyers and consultants. But to your point, Louisa, stress, productivity, people, sickness, illness, these are the things that happen due to incivility in the workplace. It is Monday, and there are people out here that are dreading going to the office because they are faced with challenges and dealing with environments that are less than civil. And then with leaders that are, rude or difficult, there's so many things to that. And it's very true. I mean, Monday, high percentage of people that call out on Monday just because of the stress from going into the office.
That's true. So, viewers, we have a few more minutes. Do you have another question to pop in the comment box? We'll be happy to answer those questions. You can see that civility is not just for one person. The change must begin with us. Whether it's at home, in the workplace, do the most that you can. I know that, like Dr. Renee has just told us, Monday morning is not a time you want to come out. I am an example. Like yesterday, I didn't think I had enough time to celebrate Mother's Day.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't want to be out. But that's not an excuse to be rude to people.
That's right.
That's not an excuse to treat people unfairly. And by closing, I'm going to share a quote by Maya Angelou. She's one of my mentors. I love her so much through her work. And it states, I've learned that people will forget what you said, what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel.
True.
So step out today and make this week an incredible week by just being good to the next person. If you don't have the right thing to say, keep quiet. Don't be rude. Try to say please and thank you. Be nice to your neighbor. And do not forget, if you're watching this on a replay, still pop us those comments, questions. We want to hear from you, and we will be happy to deal with this. Now, for our guest, Dr. Renee, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
She is on Facebook as L. Renee Baker. If you wanted to add her, please do. If you want to learn more about leadership and civility. And she has a book coming up. Dr. Renee, I'm not going to forget that.
Don't forget my book coming out.
No. Can you tell us a little bit about that book, please?
Yes.
Just before we go.
So, my book is Lead and Be Civil. and it's
Mm-hmm.
about workplace civility and workplace. It's coming out soon this summer, so we're
Mm-hmm.
targeting a June, July release. So Lead and Be Civil. I'll be sharing lots and lots about that book. So thank you, Louisa, for giving me a platform to be able to share it for the first time publicly. So there's lots of information and stats in the book, case studies and use cases about instability in the workplace and the cost and benefits, but definitely some tangible ideas. But you also can learn more about my business at Civility Experts by going to civilityexperts.com/New York. I am the affiliate for Civility Experts for New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Delaware, and Florida.
So a few more people had joined us again. Jacqueline Williams, thank you, from Virginia. We had M.A. Powers from Lebanon. Thank you, Marwan. It's so good to have you. Kate from Nigeria, thank you. Susan Jacobs from Canada, thank you so much. Um, and we have Anna from Virginia. Thank you so
Yep.
much. So I am so happy, guys. It's 10 minutes. We had to do that a little extra because of what we started at the beginning about the video.
Yes.
But we are here every Mondays and Fridays, 7:30 a.m. Eastern Time. We're going to continue the conversation. Send us comments. Send me a message. I want to read from you. Let us know what you want us to talk about. Thank you so much, Dr. Renee, for being here.
Thank you,
And
Louisa.
have yourself a wonderful day, guys. See you soon. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.